Hey, Laura J. Starting this recording this almost 8 p.m. evening on Friday, November 28th. I am not quite sure where I am streaming, in fact. So it seems
recording
YouTube.
This almost 8 p.m.
Yes, it worked. Oh, that's exciting. Okay. Woo. All right, we did it. Yeah, there we go. All right, my restream did not work, but at least we got the YouTube working. And that's kind of halfway there. So I am very excited to be here with you for a clarification of my New Ageism, if that is the truth. And then to also just kind of look at that whole notion of the 3D-5D belief system and how relevant that is to us from my perspective. So this is what I wanted to share with you, and I wanted to do it where I would actually be able to see this over on Facebook too and use my Restream program, but it didn't work out that way. So it is what it is. There's the part of me that wants to just restart so that I can get better at the technology. And then there's the other part of me that wants to honor you who tune into the replay after the fact. So I'm going to just dive into my BS, take it, leave it, figure out how it sits and fits and feels for you, and then what you're going to do with it. And so we're going to start with, if you thought I'm New Age, you're not right. You're not wrong from the perspective that a lot of what I share is absolutely of a new age and new era. However, I'm not the traditional New Age, and I don't believe or subscribe to, I don't believe in nor subscribe to much of the dogma from the teachings of the ascended masters, quote unquote, that are actually teachings of Summit Lighthouse or Summit University, which are messages that were channeled through the consciousness of Elizabeth Clare Prophet and Mark Prophet, who Elizabeth Clare Prophet married, who she was a student. But that, however, all of that started out, I've been in one of those kind of dynamics myself earlier in life, and ultimately for them it worked, and they created a whole mystery school that are said to be the teachings of the ascended masters, but I just see it to be a lot of people that are being fed off of the prayers that they are offering to entities that are proclaimed to be the ascended masters, when I see us to be those who have come here to be that which we desired, to rescue us before, come save us, to do for us that which we would like to see done. I believe we are the ones that are here to do it, which is why I believe that whole 3D, 5D shift notion is pretty dangerous in some ways, because it means that we're trying to lose the vessel that our soul, the light within us, has come within to transport us through this life in. And why that's dangerous from my belief system, my perspective, my BS. The danger in wanting to drop the meat suit is not valuing the meat suit and all that it allows us to do while we are here to be the individuated expressions of the grand overall designer, creator of all that is, source of all energy. When we get back to alone and all one, being a letter apart for either lies or love that we fill ourselves with, and then see the self-image that we take on to be the CELL-F, for whether we fill ourselves with fear or faith, it's equivalent. It's similar. It's not synonymous specifically, because there is so much that is said to be like nonfiction and real or truth. Those are not synonymous. If we live in a universe where there The universe doesn't differentiate negatives. It just gives us more of what we're focused on. That means the non is not part of the sentence technically. Therefore, if the focus is on nonfiction, which is supposedly the same as truth, then when the non is taken off of the fiction, what is left but the diction of the fiction that would say that nonfiction is the equivalent of truth when that is not true, when that is not reality neither. But if we don't contest it, then it could be because our consciousness is what the con is being sent for. When we consent to accept someone else's dogma, belief system, or BS. And that is what takes us to the 5D, 2D split shift that I believe is truly what we are going through now. And that brings us into the duality that we are individually experiencing within this would-be binary yes or no options experience of the 2D versus the 5D, which is where Spirit is able to work through us using the guide our soul hired ahead of time for this journey, where we don't need permission because we're already on the mission. We don't need a permission of each mission. We're on the grand mission with many missions along the way. For each day is an opportunity for us to stretch and grow and learn to be ourselves in a new way we hadn't been before. And now we say, hey, I like this. I don't like that. That's contrast. It teaches me I like this, which is clarity, which helps me get that which I desire. Because if the contrast is in the creative mechanism of us to be able to be putting that forward, then we are actually creating an error. I'm conscious now that I wanted to share this over to Facebook since I'm live streaming anyway, and I forgot to do that. So I'm going to right now, and then I'm going to tell you why I do believe it is the 5D, 2D shift. I'm about to share why I believe the shift is from the 5D to 3D into the 5D into 2D, which is where we begin to see, tune in and leave a comment to let me know what you think about what's being said and sometimes sung, for I must not be the only one who loves to rhyme. Not all the time, but most of it. I just sang that while I typed. 808, I'm back and I say, hey, I want to say, the infinity is when we bring the up and down and right and left together at the center of the Maltese cross. I guess that's why I brought up Summit Lighthouse before, because the Maltese cross is actually a useful teaching, I thought, and I'll share it one day, unless you want to check it out, and you can. Okay, now I'm moving on to the reason why you've been introduced to those teachings now. If they are new to you, I say that anything you pray to, you become energetic prey to, because the corporations you would allow to rule the nation of you is who would call the shots, not just the ones you take in the arm or head, but the heart too, because when you buy the pro-social lies that would have you deny the truth for the sake of a lie that has grown too big, what do? You Be yourself authentically and radically and say, hey, I know it's strange to sing and show your true colors, but who and whose did I come here to be but the all we came from and only feel separate from when we don't see the connection we have to source, and then start to feed off one another, because that's what vampires do. And here's the thing too, we can all go through stages where we may take more than ever we did before, but only because we don't feel enough, and so we no longer shore up how much energy we could have if we went directly, but instead because we steal from one another and think there's limitation, then we don't ask for what we could have and instead try to choose from that which we're told we're lucky to have. Sounds kind of abusive, Munchausen syndrome much. I wonder and I say, I hope you're okay. And here's why I say 5D and 2D is the split and shift we're in. I won't sing it. That was 3 minutes of me singing. What do you sing? Do you ding a ling a ling? I'm just kidding. Ha ha ha. Okay, but seriously, the 5D to 3D split doesn't make any sense to me, because if we need to lose the vessel, then what's the point in looking after it? Which is why I believe that it is actually from the 5D to the 2D that we are going through the shift in. That's makes sense to me, because the 5 and the 2 are the inverse flipped of one another, really, if you look at it carefully. And then you start to see how the 2D would be the binary yes or no options. Let me give you some limited options for you to choose from. And then if you don't like those options too bad, you still have to choose one of them. And if you do like one of those options, then I know your preference is better, so that's great. So binary and unlimited is common law, which is what is real. So real and not real are not the equivalent to nonfiction and fiction, because fiction in the non-reality is actually given more credit than nonfiction, which is truth. Whereas in the non-truth, truth still carries over to the fiction. So if we actually start to look at the fact the universe doesn't differentiate negatives, it only gives us more of what we're focused on, then we see that fighting against anything is only give us more of it, is only going to give us more of it, because we live in the universe with the law of non-resistance. What you resist persists. Fight fire with fire, you get more fire. Douse water with water, you get more water. Douse fire with water, you have a remedy. Mix elements or mix the same elements and you get different outcomes. Pay attention to the outcomes you're getting, learn your contrast, gain your clarity. That's the process. That's the creative alchemy of life. We learn our contrast, we gain our clarity. We use our clarity to create, contrast to clarity to creation. When we actually step into that division of the creative spectrum, where we see ourselves to be creators instead of consumers who react to that which others would tell us is good. By my BS, my belief systems, they are the best. If you believe my BS, you're going to be ahead of the rest. I can tell you that because I know for myself, this, and this. I feel the way, or you seem to feel this way. I felt that way before, and then I found this to be the solution I'm selling you now. That's my BS. Take it or leave it, but I benefit if you actually buy it. And that which I am selling, the merchandise, the whatever it is, you could buy my book in truth. And there is a course coming up at the end of November, which was not yet actually why I went into that little narrative. It was just to be dramatic, to say that we're all selling something, even if it's not a monetary exchange required. Your time is worth more than anything. You get a 86,400 second lottery at the beginning of the day. At midnight every day until you don't, you win 86,400 seconds to spend, invest as you choose, as you see fit. You can waste it, you can invest it, you can just spend it freely. Whatever you wish to do, your day is yours until it isn't. And when it isn't, you get to reflect on all the days that you had, all those lotteries that you won. What did you do with them? How did you benefit your fellow man, woman, child? How did we get so offensive because we were looking to be offended that we stopped seeing ourselves to be real and instead made ourselves to be something other than? That we would need to heal from the trauma of having to become in order to stand in our power as something other than we were before, which actually all of that just simply cut through all the personas, which were masks of the emotions, of the energies in motion that we needed to move, except for we didn't know how to. And so we couldn't heal thyself, which meant we couldn't have a healthy self. For the one that is healing thyself is the healthy self expressed in the process of becoming that which could be claimed we are if we were willing to take the name of one who was healed. And that is where we must also see that the difference between being healed and healing is very significant, even though it is a slight distinction. It is all about the tense. When you experience intense emotions of energies in motion that show up in the tense that you left them in, whether it be the future or the past, where in the now you have no idea what to do because you've got so many options between then, and when you don't know will be best. So what do you do when you live in a shoe that you created because you chose to walk on your soul? You take the plastic off your feet. You take the rubber off your feet and get grounded in the truth. You take the non-reality away and you say, I'm freaking amazing. Not me specifically, me. What do we share so often, memes? My friend Neil says it makes me laugh. Those memes are memes. If you spell it or say it differently, then you're supposed to. But do you know that if we actually shifted from the 2D into the 5D, we could be the ones who said this is fun and this is not, and so I'll not choose that and will choose this instead. And that taught me I would like to see this in future instead of that, so it no longer needs to show up in my reality the way it did before, because I learned and now I do better, because I got burned before and now I learn and say to you, if you thought I'm new age, you're not right, but that does not mean you're wrong either. But it doesn't mean I accept the whole gestalt of the new age, because I don't. Santa Claus neither. Do you see how Satan Claus crawls down the spine of the pineal tree that we bow down to, and life gifts at the foundation of, to say here's to you and all those who I love, that I wish to let amen and myth Come down the chimney where the fireplace is stoked, because the heart is where the hearth is within us, and we are the key to the inner earth, which is the heart in a different order. If we start to look inward and say, no way, it's so simple, but did you know? Because you left your head, and instead you got recentered when you entered your heart. Can you start to be who we need you to be, which is yourself fully? What lights you up, makes you feel passionate, start there. That will help you stoke the fire of your heart. And let us start to feel passionate, enthusiastic, authentic, and have clarity and encouraging to find your tribe, understand what's yours, love what arises in the moment that's trying to be resolved, and then let go of your attachment to the not now that's peaceful. Inner means individual needs necessitate emotional resilience, resonance, and respect. Because if we try to go from belonging to self-actualization, we'll trip on respect every time. I say from experience, believe me when I say it, please. Don't have to learn the lessons I did the way I did. It was hard on my reputation and my image too, for there were times when I forgot I'm the magi of my world. I'm a warrior and a shamaness and a mystical woman who just wants to be myself. I'm a simple woman. I love cats and coffee. Don't you see? The coffee will have to turn to tea soon. But until then, I'll love you to the moon and back. I've got a little plaque on the wall that says exactly that, because I gave my nephew Alexander a book that said that too when he was new. And with that, I bid you adieu. Restream didn't do what it was supposed to, but you got the message anyway. I'd love to say you will share this with a friend who needs to know it's okay to be weird and authentically fabulous. And also say if you'd like to join Peaceful Inner Warriors United. On Facebook, there's a group where misfits fit. Peaceful Inner Warriors United is it? And then Telegram to Peaceful Inner Warriors United Assembly, because lawfully we can assemble and be ourselves authentically, which is what I hope that we can do for ourselves. And so I say to you, I bid you adieu, namaste, nama go for today. Just kidding. But seriously, if you had fun, leave a message. Let me know what this message means to you, for you, what you're going to do with it. As always, I'd love to hear. If you fear that what you have to share as feedback will hurt my feelings, then please know I'm not looking to be offended. And if you're trying to offend me, then I'm sending you extra love because clearly you need it. And with that, peace.